live from the parking lot of El Monte Legion Stadium in beautiful El Monte, California. We're here for the International Wrestling Competition, and
I asked him not to fumble about where we were, so that's what you get.
And dog show. Okay.
I hope the African hound wins because they're beautiful but dumb. Maybe I'm wrong. Used to be my favorite.
Speaking of beautiful and dumb.
Oh, you're in trouble. Oh.
You don't know what I was going to say.
Yes, I do.
Anyway.
I always know what you're... No, that's not true. You surprise me all the time, dear.
Oh, okay. Anyway.
We're back in Sprouts parking lot on Tuesday.
Right. I'm going to turn
hope the refrigeration is working today and things like that.
Okay. I turn the camera back on you. Okay.
Oh, Lord.
You look so cute.
I'm in my late 1980s coat, which I'm so glad I saved because it's warm and it was 31 degrees. The bird bath.
Look at that.
It was hard. So.
Yes, we had a hard bird bath this morning.
So anyway, and it's cold.
Yes.
But the sun is shining. And we're alive.
Okay, well, there's blessing number one.
What, the sun's shining?
That's blessing number two. We're alive, okay.
And so is everybody else out there.
Yes, and we're happy that
that's
you're with us.
Three.
Yeah.
Hope you're all well.
So.
Lon's going to talk about someone today.
I'm going to talk about our.
Am I on or you on?
You're
go
on.
Back and forth without knocking.
I'll go. Yeah, I can. Yes, we're going to talk about our dear friend, mentor, benefactor.
That's enough.
Yeah, Alan Miller or Christopher S. Hyatt. It was 17 years ago, this past Sunday, that he passed away at the age of 64.
May have been substance abuse.
The substance abuse may have had something to do with it. But anyway, I'll talk about it in just a second. But he was a very important person in both of our lives.
Yeah, he was a family friend and helped feed us for a long time. Gave Lon a job and taught him how to write.
Yeah.
Helped him learn how to write. Didn't really teach it because you knew how to write in high school.
Yes.
I still have some notes of Lon's in high school, one or two.
Oh, what did I say?
I've read them to you already. We've both forgotten. I think it's for the best.
Was it sincere?
It was probably goofy with little drawings on it.
Oh.
Lon used to always give me big notes with little drawings on it. Can you believe we actually passed notes in high school? Okay, never mind.
I passed one note to you. You sat in front of me in civics class or social studies, and it said, "I've got a crush on you. Do you mind?"
Is that when Mr. Brooks said, "Keep your hands off that blonde"?
That's when Mr. Brooks said, "Keep your hands off that blonde."
Well, we weren't going to talk about this at all. We were going to talk about Alan.
Okay.
And I was just briefly going to say something. Alan gave me a nice little necklace, too, once. With turquoise in it and silver and with little hearts on it.
And my coffee cup that I...
Yes, and I still have it. And a coffee cup that you you use it for tea now instead of coffee.
Yeah.
Although you drink coffee.
With a Picasso drawing on it.
Anyway, so, but we think of Alan often, fondly. But he had... like everybody else, he had, I don't want to say faults. He had things that did not benefit anyone too much, especially himself.
We've all got a few of those.
He drank a lot and enabled other people like David Wilson to go down that track after someone enabled him to. But like everybody else. And I was thinking, everybody has a balance of virtues and vices. to put it one way. And probably only the virtue things, the results seem to last, but it doesn't mean that we're not perfect, because I think maybe the balance of the virtues and vices is what perfection is. It's not being 100% all, doing everything right, because first of all, if we did that, we probably would not be in bodily form anymore.
So we're perfectly flawed.
No, I don't even think those are flaws. I think they're that's just what perfect is.
Yes,
it's
part of my perfection.
It's a balance of virtues and vices, and the thing is, which reminded me of when I was allowed to do Gnostic Catholic baptisms first, and there was no baptismal ceremony at the time. Part of my ceremony that I wrote was at the end. May your virtues and your vices equally serve your true will. And God, I was wise. I was more wise then than I am now, because that's a pretty good.
That's pretty damn good. That's
good advice, because it's better than trying to get rid of. Just translate your vices into working for your true will. That's what the Holy Spirit does, or your guardian angel.
So say that quote again.
May your virtues and your vices equally serve your true will.
Very nice.
Okay, and so I'm thinking that's probably what Alan did.
Yeah, I do.
And all of us probably try to do that too. But so stop feeling guilty about your things that you don't do perfectly right and the errors you make, because you can correct them in time, and then new ones will pop up.
That's right, a whole fresh batch.
Because this is Earth.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to go buy vegetables. Lon's going to turn the camera around.
I'm going to turn the camera back. Thank you, dear.
That's it.
And you look really nice in that coat
today. The stocking cap's a little bit dippy, but it's freezing cold.
You look like Joan Crawford.
Oh, God, no one wants to look like Joan Crawford.
You have Joan.
Lord have mercy, I'm out of here.
Before
you dig yourself in deeper, just let me get out of here.
You have Joan Crawford shoulders.
Yeah, I said that's how old this coat is.
Yeah. So, anyway.
But it's wool.
Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law.
Love is the law. Love under will.
Okay.
Get away from that.
Okay, let's see. I got stuff here that I brought from home. And let's see here. First of all,
I'm going to slam to it.
Okay. When Alan died on February 9th, 2008, I wrote a little eulogy for him, and then I'll share a couple other things with you. But he wrote under the name Christopher S. Hyatt, which is a great nom de plume, okay, PhD. Alan R. Miller, also known as Christopher S. Hyatt, PhD, author, publisher, and esoteric pop psychologist. I don't know if he'd like that, but he pretty much was that too. That's a compliment. Died February 9th, 2008, at his home in Scottsdale, Arizona. His wife, Linda, and his son, Michael, were with him. He was 64 years old. He had been battling cancer and other health concerns for some time. Alan was my lodge brother in the OTO. I initiated him Minerval. I'm not sure if we ever gave him his first, but later on in life, Hymenaeus Beta, the OHO of the OTO, elevated him to ninth degree. Now, ninth degree is in the OTO system can be conferred at any time. Okay, and not only is it an kind of an honorary thing, like in the Masons, a 33rd degree. It can be conferred at any time, at the will, I guess, of the administration. But it's also a wonderful recognition of his contribution to not only the OTO but the world of occultism and esoteric philosophy in general. But I'll get to that. I digress. Alan was my lodge brother in the OTO, my career mentor, writing partner for 4 titles, and for 20 years, a close family friend. His biographical information and litany of written works is now everywhere on the internet. Just Googling Christopher S. Hyatt or Alan Miller, you find just tons of stuff. So there's no need for me to repeat all of that in this short comment. I would simply like to share my thoughts and, in particular, address the statement by one commentator that Alan was a, quote, blowhard. So, when somebody dies, mostly when somebody kind of famous like Alan dies, people immediately go to whatever platform they can speak from and say how much they're going to miss the deceased person and how much that deceased person loved them. That's like Stonehenge Equinox writing about Israel Regardie, How much Israel Regardie loved me. I managed to have a profound effect upon his life, okay? But one of those commentaries observed, and accurately observed, that Alan at times could really be a blowhard. Okay, so that one amused me very much because Alan was indeed a blowhard. He could blow as loud and unexpectedly as a Pacific gale that once capsized his boat. He was a sailor. His temperament was rough, and he was quick to anger. I think probably the classic word for that personality type is mercurial. He was a mercurial personality. And that doesn't mean he had wings on his feet and flittered around. Au contraire. But they often describe Henry VIII as a mercurial personality. Brilliant, but difficult at times. He could aim that mighty wind against friends, colleagues, business associates, and foes, real or imagined. To say he could be a difficult friend to have would be an immense understatement. At the same time, he was as kind and generous a friend as anyone would care to enjoy. He was also, to the esoteric community, a national treasure. He was not only generous with his time and resources, he was generous with himself. You can't say that about everybody. But Alan was generous with himself. I was 40 years old when Alan Miller handed me a writing career. Something he did for others as well. For 2 years, I sat 5 days a week with him and learned the discipline of writing. During that time, he fed me a healthy lunch. Well, Linda fed us both a healthy lunch, and paid me $1,332 a month. That's 666 times 2. Paid me every 2 weeks a check for $666. He paid me that for the privilege of sitting with him 5 days a week and learning how to write. In the meantime, I got to rub elbows with the likes of Timothy Leary, Robert Anton Wilson, and of course, Christopher S. Hyatt. The 4 titles we co-authored in 1990 and 91, and they were published in 1991 and 92, are still in print, and I still get my royalties. Yes, Alan blew hard. He blew hard against the forces of hypocrisy, ignorance, superstition, tyranny, and oppression. He supported a score of esoteric personalities and causes. In the late 1970s, he befriended Israel Regardie and managed his finances and investments, assuring him a comfortable retirement in Sedona, Arizona. He also assured that Regardie would finally be paid for his landmark work with the Golden Dawn material, a payment that previous publishers had, if not refused, omitted to honor. Alan Miller also blew hard in defense of individuals and institutions that, for one reason or another, found themselves enmeshed in litigation for the sake of their spiritual and intellectual liberties. Few knew it, but Alan Miller was the closest thing the esoteric community had to an ACLU. Foremost among his most recent contributions to the royal art was his donation of tens of thousands of dollars to repair, preserve, and restore to museum galley standards Frida Harris's 78 watercolor masterpieces we know today as the Thoth Tarot. Alan Miller proudly bore the title of Blowhard, and I'll miss him very much. Whether you know it or not, because of his years of behind-the-scenes support and influence in the magical and literary communities, I guarantee that you will miss him also. So that's my eulogy to Alan. I got a couple things. The first thing, before we started writing books together, he asked me if I would contribute a chapter to his book. This is a later edition of it. I went upstairs to try to find the first edition. Secrets of Western Tantra, the Sexuality of the Middle Path. This is has a wonderful introduction by Robert Anton Wilson. I'm just going to read the last sentence of Bob Wilson's introduction. Let's see here. I hail Dr. Hyatt for his wisdom, but even more I hail him for his courage. Like a loaded gun, this book should be treated with great respect. You're not dealing with mere ideas here. You hold in your hands the keys to actually to actual changes in yourself and your relations with every man, every woman, and every sentient being in space-time. If it took courage to publish this, as it did, it will take intelligence to use it properly. Every copy should be labeled, "Handle with care." That's Robert Anton Wilson in L.A., April of 1989. Okay. My contribution is in Appendix 4, and it's called Another Perspective. Where are we here? Another Perspective of Love and Tantra. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but I start off with this. And now remember, this is the first thing that I've ever got legitimately published. So the book was officially published in 1989. So I was writing this either in late 87 or 88, early 88. Another Perspective on Infinite Love and Tantra by Lon Milo DuQuette. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. The myth of original sin is perhaps the single most destructive concept ever to influence the mental health of humanity. The first 4 chapters of Genesis may have been enlightening to a handful of adepts studying Kabbalistic cosmology, for whom and by whom it was written, but its misinterpretation and misuse by a menagerie of 2 millennium, I'm not above that, of priestcrafts has proven to be the true original sin of Western civilization. Recently, on one of the Christian television networks, I witnessed a monstrous illustration. I was watching a children's program aimed at Christian pre-teenagers, and I add parenthetically here, okay, I admit to a small level of spiritual masochism. But Constance said, "Why are you watching Christian children's show? That's sick, you know." No, you know, it's like looking at it. You can't turn your head away from a train wreck, you know. Anyway, a segment of the program was dedicated to questions mailed in by young viewers in a sort of Dear Abby format, and the show's hostess would answer from a Christian perspective. One youngster wrote that his preteen friends were always telling him, quote, bad jokes. Name of the rose, okay. Bad jokes. And even had passed around a magazine with bad pictures of women. Guilelessly, he wrote that although he knew that jokes in magazines were sinful, they gave him a feeling inside himself he enjoyed. He wanted to know if his feelings were evil. If so, what should he do to get rid of them? After reading the letter aloud, the show's hostess, who was dressed as a cowgirl, answered in condescending baby talk that even though the youngster was still only a child, he, like all of us, had sinned against God because of the sin of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. The, quote, dirty feeling, her words, not his, was caused by the presence of this sin in all of us. She counseled him to pray to Jesus, especially at bedtime. Admit to him that he was a sinner and invite him into his heart and ask for the strength to, quote, not enjoy, unquote, the feeling. She then gave him the sage advice to tell his friends to stop telling bad jokes and sharing the magazine with him because they made him feel, quote, all dirty inside. Of course, as most Christians have no knowledge of nor interest in the historic foundations of their faith, they may be unaware that this obscene concept is part of church doctrine. However, few Westerners, Christians and non-Christians alike, have escaped the traumatic influence of this, quote, original curse, unquote, and the grip it has held on the testes of our culture. That child, and perhaps millions of other sensitive young viewers of that program, became victims of a form of spiritual sexual child abuse as real and as deleterious as physical molestation. Those feelings were not dirty. They were a natural and wholesome unfolding of the creative impulse in his own innermost being. Feelings, if encouraged, nurtured, and mastered in an environment free of imposed guilt, can be the key to the liberation of the soul. But like countless generations before him, at the very moment of his awakening, he was shamed into denying, repressing, and perverting that divine electricity each of us share with all creation. Okay, I go on, talk about the book, talk about sex magic, have a little section on the book of the law, and on infinite love, and then I talk about the Mass of the Gnostic Catholic Church. And I end up by quoting Robert Anton Wilson's 23rd law, which is do it every day kind of thing. Anyway, that was my first contribution. I was very excited to go to the Crystal Cave at the time in Santa Ana, California, and got to see the first copy on the shelf of a bookstore, and it contained I was very proud of it. Anyway, before I close today, I just want to show you those 4 titles that Alan and I wrote. We started out, okay, with this book here. Although it wasn't, we started to write this one here, and he was going to call it The Ultimate Divination. But as we brainstormed and everything else, I thought the idea of the knowledge and conversation of the Holy Guardian Angel, when viewed in perspective of sex magic, if you will, the way of the secret lover, we changed it to the way of the secret lover, Tantra Tarot, and the Holy Guardian Angel. And it stayed in print with sort of a different shuffling of the title and subtitle over the years. And it was the first one to use my design for what would later become, in a few short years, the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. And Alan didn't like my crude drawings, so he had David P. Wilson snazz them up a bit. But let's see. Yeah, that's what. But these are my designs, but David Wilson's beautiful work on them. Okay, and this is what we looked like in those days. These pictures were taken at Alan's beautiful apartment in along the beach in Long Beach. So there's Alan, and that painting in the back is the Golden Dawn triangle and and cross. But as we were doing this, the conversation turned to Enochian magic, and I told Alan how basically it's not hard at all. It seems complicated and stuff, and so we ended up writing this one and publishing this one first, The Enochian World of Aleister Crowley, and because Alan's contribution to it was his specialty, sort of sex magic and the psychological aspects of that. So the subtitle was Enochian Sex Magic. It also helped sell it. And there's again is the moon card from the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. Then the third one we wrote, and it was called Taboo, Sex, Religion, and Magic. But the first edition was Taboo, the Ecstasy of Evil. So, first and foremost, Alan wanted to sell books, okay? It didn't matter that they were really good, too, or Alan's contribution was really good, too. Just, first and foremost, let's give it a title. Taboo, the Ecstasy of Evil. And then there's other people, Diana Hartman and Gary Ford. Okay, then the fourth one we did was Aleister Crowley's Illustrated Goetia. So, now there's many other things that, there were several other things that I did for Alan and New Falcon Publications, and little introductions and forwards and things like that. And it was about a 2.5 year period of my life that really put me on the path of this, okay, and my the writing end of what I do, and I owe him an immeasurable gratitude. And I have coffee, so I'm going to toast the memory of my dear friend and mentor, to Alan Miller, Christopher S. Hyatt. Anyway, that's it for today. I want you to continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other, and treat yourself. If you haven't read a book by Alan Miller, you can, of course, get one that we penned together. But if you really want to have him undiluted, get yourself Undoing Yourself by Christopher S. Hyatt. If you haven't read Undoing Yourself, that's the one. That's the one to read. Anyway, that's it for today. Continue to be good to yourself. Be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law. Love under will.